So this brings me again back to, what are you really feeling? What are your real thoughts in relation to the things that you pray for? If you're sending out a message that you're praying for someone's disease to go away, you're praying for health, and it's a beckoning that you're praying like that. And let's think child. My little 10-year-old was just tested positive for COVID. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. But if I had spent my time praying for her to heal or to get through this, what is my obvious affirmation in that? What is my prayer? My prayer is, oh, she's in disease. So what am I actually praying for? Disease. Yet when I start with the end in mind, so to speak, think of Ernest Holmes, think of course, the Fillmores with Unity, Charles and Myrtle, seeing that healthy state of being, seeing them as exactly as pure as they are, the authenticity of their being, the witness, not the character locked in the movie, so to speak. And I'm going to start bringing this together with that realization that, what was this called? The temple, right? You know what that word is in Aramaic? It's haikla, or haikla. And what that means, the chaya, the root of that is, Yeshua said, I come to give you chaya and give it abundantly. I come to give you what? Life. What that literally means is conscious life energy. Haikla means basically an embodiment or a gathering of conscious life energy. When you realize that I am life itself, then you start to realize that the mamuna, the materiality, which is the movie that you're watching, not necessarily the money in your hand, as the church has kind of been putting it out there. Although I have to give kudos to Les Brown. I think he was quoting someone else. He was like, everybody says money's the root of all evil, but they all want to find out for themselves. Funny, but when we start looking deeper at that, and we start realizing that, wait a second here, am I locked in the dream? Am I locked in the movie? Am I buying that? Am I trying to change things in there? And it's like, you can change things in there. That's part of being conscious. But what's most important is to realize that you're not the movie projecting on the screen. You're also not the film strip in your projector, which is what you think and or even feel. Who you are is the light in the projector. You're what's watching. You're the who behind the who, the I behind the I. And when you come from that essence, the film strip essentially becomes clean rather than through a lens darkly. And you start experiencing more light in your life. And you start saying, okay, if I'm thinking, if I have this fear of my beautiful little Shemaiah, which is the word heaven in Aramaic and the word for sky, if I start thinking of her needing to be healed, then what I'm affirming is disease. But when I see her as exuberant and brilliant and radiant in shining health, that's the real prayer. That I can be able to go into that place of prayer empty. And I want to leave you with that openness, that emptiness, with a quote from one of my most amazing favorite books of all time, my most quoted book ever. And it has a lot to do with the realization that not necessarily what you're thinking, but how you truly feel is what creates your life. And if you really want to get prayer on the deepest level, you want to tune into that God frequency, you will have so much more profound of an experience if you can let go of your thoughts and feeling and just enter in the words of Khalil Gibran, invisible. To be open, rather than beckoning for something, to actually allow the higher and highest intelligence of the cosmic vibration to live through you. So this is from The Prophet, my most quoted book when someone's born, dies, marriage, etc., even more than the Bible. This is the section on prayer. And Gibran says, what is prayer but the expansion of yourself into the living ether? And if it is for your comfort to pour your darkness into space, it is also your delight to pour forth the dawning of your heart. When you pray, you rise to meet in the air those who are praying at that very hour, and whom, save in prayer, you may not meet. Therefore, Let your visit to that temple invisible be for naught but ecstasy and sweet communion. I cannot teach you how to pray in words. God listens not to your words, save when He Himself utters them through your lips. What does that mean? That's when you are open. That is when your temple is not necessarily just sending out all the signals of your fears, your phobias, your indoctrination, your conditioning, but rather that you are literally a transmission and reception being of the cosmic vibration of the universal intelligence. That is what true prayer really means. My life is my prayer.